All right, let's get into it. Today, we're breaking down a really fascinating and frankly pretty controversial modern combat system, Tetsuryoku-Ryu, also known as the Iron Force style. Now, this is a system built not for the dojo, not for sport, but for the brutal, unpredictable reality of the street. And to really get what this is all about, you've got to hear this claim from the creators themselves. It perfectly frames their whole philosophy. They say, if the UFC is a game of chess, Tetsuryoku is a shotgun. And that tells you everything you need to know, right? This isn't about a long, strategic back and forth. It's about ending a fight with overwhelming, decisive, and immediate force. So what exactly is it? As you can see, this is not some traditional martial art that's been passed down for centuries. Its creators call it combat engineering. What that really means is that every single piece of this system was reverse engineered for one thing and one thing only: to survive a violent, real-world encounter. It's all about maximum effect in that one specific, terrifying context. And here's where it gets really interesting. This style wasn't born in some ancient monastery on a mountaintop. It was architected by a guy named JARROD A, FREEMAN, and he's totally open about using modern tools like Google and ChatGPT to pull together, synthesize, and pressure test concepts from some of the world's most effective martial arts.
Think of it like this. The system is a hybrid, a self-described Frankenstein of lethal concepts. They basically went shopping for the most battle-tested parts of other arts. So you've got the raw, brutal body conditioning ripped straight from Kyokushin karate. You've got the pure physics and geometry of angles from Aikido. The incredible science of breaking an opponent's balance, that's taken from Judo. And for up-close and personal work, the devastating tools of the Muay Thai clinch.
Okay, so we know what it's made of. But how does it all come together? How does it actually claim to work? Well, it all hinges on a single, powerful geometric principle, what the system calls a skeletal flaw in all of us. This is the secret sauce.
And this is the magic number, 45 degrees. Tetsuryoku-Ryu says this is the scientific cheat code to human combat. The whole idea is that our skeletons, our bodies, have a kind of built-in flaw. We're great at bracing for force coming straight at us, or even from the side. But when that force comes in at a 45-degree vector, we're just not built to handle it.
So, moving at this angle creates what they call a dead zone, and it exploits three huge vulnerabilities at once. First, anatomically, your spine and knees just can't lock out and brace effectively against that angle. Second, you pop into their peripheral vision, which messes with their brain's ability to judge distance and timing. And third, and this is the big one, you're in a perfect spot to hit them while being out of the direct line of fire of their primary weapons, their hands and feet.
So how do you get into that dead zone? Well, the system relies on two key movements, both using that 45-degree principle. You've got irimi, which is your forward, aggressive entry step to get inside their attack, and then you have tenkan, which is a turning, rotational pivot you use to redirect their momentum and spin them off balance.
Okay, so you've taken the angle, you're in the dead zone, what happens next? This is where it gets really clever. The goal isn't just to trade blows, it's to engineer a complete structural and mental collapse in your opponent.
And the crucial point here is that this is as much a psychological attack as it is a physical one. The main goal is what the system calls neural overload. By using that judo concept, Kuzushi, to violently break their balance, you basically hijack their brain. For a split second, all their brain can think about is, I'm falling, it's trying to reboot. And in that tiny window, that's your opening.
Okay, let's put this into practice. How does this look in a real-world scenario? The system uses these katanas, which are really just simulations of common street attacks. So picture this. Someone grabs your shirt, they're winding up a big, sloppy haymaker. Instead of backing up, you use irimi to step 45 degrees inside the punch, right into that dead zone. You simultaneously yank their structure down and forward, and then you finish the encounter right there before they even know what happened.
All right, this is the part everybody always wants to know. How does a system like this claim to stack up against other, more established martial arts? Let's take a look at the system's own matchup analysis. Now this is absolutely fascinating. Against a boxer, the whole game is to use Kuzushi to wreck their stance, because if a boxer can't set his feet, he has no power. Against an MMA fighter, the idea is to exploit their sport rules mindset with a super fast, brutal attack on targets that are illegal in the cage. But look at BJJ. The system is brutally honest. Keep the fight standing and you have a chance. But if it goes to the ground, the odds just plummet to almost zero.
And I think it's crucial that the system is so upfront about its own weaknesses. This hyperspecialization creates some really clear dangers. A skilled kicker who can manage distance is a huge problem. The physics are unforgiving. If your angle is even a little bit off, the whole thing just fails. And like we just saw, if that initial disruption doesn't work against a grappler, you are in a world of trouble. There's really no soft option here.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? It all comes back to this core philosophy, which is just ruthlessly pragmatic. It's all summed up in 3 words: disrupt, dominate, done.
It's really built on this anti-sport doctrine. The argument is that training for a competition on a soft mat is a fatal error if you're trying to survive on concrete. That's what they call the concrete variable. And training to defend against big padded gloves, that creates the glove delusion, because a bare-knuckle punch is a totally different weapon.
And it all comes together in this brutally simple 3-second formula, the Freeman Trinity. Step 1, the entry. Take that 45-degree angle. Be where they can't see you properly. Step 2, the disrupt. Break their balance. You're not fighting their muscles, you're fighting gravity. And step 3, the finish. Deliver the fight-ending shot while they are physically and mentally falling apart. And that leaves us with one final, critical question to think about. Is this kind of hyper-specialized, brutally efficient, anti-sport system the real key to survival in a dangerous world? Or does focusing so intensely on one single strategy create its own dangerous and maybe even fatal blind spot?